What's up, guys? Ryan Wormeli here from Fantasy Pros, running through 5 major questions in fantasy football after the NFL draft. Right off the bat, gotta start with Ashton Jeanty. Is he worthy of being a top 5 pick in redraft leagues in his rookie season? Jeanty lands in Las Vegas, where he'll be the star running back for a head coach who loves to lean on his running game in Pete Carroll. Jeanty steps into a backfield with essentially zero touch competition, and he does so with top 6 overall draft capital. Jeanty was a record-shattering superstar at Boise State, and he enters the NFL with the same type of hype as running backs like Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, and Adrian Peterson before him. Even though Jeanty could lead the NFL in touches and has the talent to turn those touches into fantasy gold, he still does face minor questions about the competition level he saw at Boise State, and it remains to be seen just how immediately he translates to the NFL. Set those questions to the side on draft day, though. Jeanty isn't just worthy of being a top 5 running back, he's worthy of at least considering drafting him in the top 5, even if I'll probably be hoping to grab him a couple spots later in the first round. Question number 2, who is the non-Ashton Jeanty running back that is worth targeting first in your drafts? We know Ashton Jeanty is a star. This was hailed as a deep running back class as well, though, so who's the next best thing besides Jeanty? There are a few names for this spot. Omarion Hampton was, for most people, the second best running back prospect in the class, and he joins an offense with a great quarterback and a head coach and play caller who both love nothing more than establishing the run. That sounds like a recipe for success, but the Chargers also added Najee Harris this year, who will likely be a thorn in the side of Hampton managers, early on at least. Travion Henderson is the explosive Jahmyr Gibbs type who brings a reputation as an elite pass blocker, which will appeal to Drake May in New England, but Henderson also joins a backfield with an established veteran. Plus, at his size, there are questions of how much of a workload he can even handle. His college teammate Quinshon Judkins gets a nice landing spot in Cleveland, but he had poor tackle-breaking metrics in school and will be playing in what is likely a very low-scoring offense given the Browns' quarterback situation. Caleb Johnson fell to the 3rd round of the NFL draft, but also steps into a Pittsburgh running game that perfectly fits his style, with some analysts even comparing him to a poor man's Derrick Henry, a player who obviously thrived with Arthur Smith. And of course, there's RJ Harvey, who shoots up draft boards after getting round 2 capital, and a lot of love from Sean Payton. Any of these 5 names could be the second best rookie running back this season. Question number 3, is year 2 the year Caleb Williams officially arrives as an elite fantasy quarterback? Caleb Williams was one of the most hyped quarterback prospects to enter the NFL in years, a surefire number 1 overall pick throughout the process. He went to the Bears, where he was stuck with the lame duck coaching staff and one of the worst offensive coordinators in football in Shane Waldron. Williams looked a little bit better after Chicago made a coaching change midway through the season, but it was still an overall disappointment to see him finish as the QB 22 in fantasy points per game, despite walking into a team with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. Year 2 looks a lot better, though. Moore is still there. Odunze is hoping to take a leap in year 2, and I think he will. And of course, Chicago hired one of the most sought-after coaching candidates of the decade in Ben Johnson. And oh, by the way, they also added Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III with their first 2 selections in the NFL draft. They also addressed their poor offensive line in free agency prior to the draft. This is as much of a dream situation Williams could have possibly hoped for in his second season. And if it's another disappointing year, that blame will fall squarely on his shoulders. I don't think that happens, though. I think we get the breakout, and Williams becomes one of the right answers at quarterback this draft season. I do want to take a moment to remind everybody about our Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator. Lets you complete a mock in minutes with no waiting between picks. You can customize your league settings to match your league's exact format. Premium subscribers can test trade scenarios by mocking with their traded draft picks. Prepare for your rookie drafts and Dynasty startup drafts in one place. Use the Dynasty Rookie Draft Simulator to dominate your rookie draft today at fantasypros.com/simulator. Question number 4. How much usage is Travis Hunter really going to get as a rookie? And of course, when I say usage, I mean on the offensive side of the ball. This is the million-dollar question, really. Travis Hunter is one of the most special talents to enter the NFL in our lifetime, playing on both sides of the ball in college and dominating as both a receiver and a cornerback in a power conference. The Jags give up a lot to move up in the draft and add Hunter to their roster, but it's hard for fantasy managers to trust just how many snaps Hunter is going to play on offense. While Hunter has made it very clear that he sees himself as a two-way player, the Jags have talked about Hunter like an offense-first player. Truthfully, I find myself in the camp of I kind of need to see it to believe it in terms of the number of snaps we'll see Hunter play on offense. It means I might actually end up finding myself with a lot of FOMO come mid-season because Hunter can be an elite wide receiver if he plays enough on that side of the ball. There's no doubt in my mind that skill-wise, he can be a superstar even if he was only a receiver, especially playing in a Liam Cohen offense where Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be drawing opposing teams' top cornerbacks. I'm also buying heavily into a bounce-back season for Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. I think this could be a really fun offense if Hunter is getting the snaps that we want, but I think I'll likely be drafting fellow top 10 pick Teteroa McMillan ahead of Hunter this season, even though early rankings have those guys flipped. Just following kind of the surefire 100-plus targets, really could be 120-plus targets in Carolina for Tet, rather than riding that emotional roller coaster of discovering what Jacksonville's plans for Hunter truly are his rookie season. Question number 5. Are we maybe undervaluing Javonte Williams in drafts? The Cowboys surprised everyone by waiting until the 5th round to finally address the running back position, and when they did, it was Jaden Blue. Now, Blue is a player I like, but he may be better suited to a complementary role in a rushing attack, so who will be the starter in Dallas? Right now, it looks like Javonte Williams, because I sure don't think it's going to be Miles Sanders. Despite his standing as RB1 for what is likely to be an above-average offense, Javonte Williams is currently outside the top 36 running backs in early consensus rankings. Yes, there are questions about just how much juice he has after his catastrophic injury from a couple of years ago, but he's now another season removed from that ordeal, and prior to the injury, he was a tackle-breaking force in college and those early days in Denver. Even if the talent never gets back to what it once was, as long as the Cowboys aren't adding more rushers around him, we kind of have to follow the volume and recognize that Williams, while not an exciting pick, and in fact, probably quite a boring pick that you can make on fantasy draft day, he was a huge winner from the NFL draft by the Cowboys not trading up to get Jeanty and not taking Hampton or any of these other running backs, and he's likely going to be a value on fantasy draft day. So that's all for today's top 5 major questions coming off the NFL draft. Be sure to subscribe to Fantasy Pros for more breakdowns and analysis all summer long, because of course there's a ton of other different rookie questions we could have gone in different directions. Bashal Tuden, I think, could be the starter in Jacksonville. He will be a huge value if he is, with his crazy speed coming out of Virginia Tech. Ton of receivers that are really interesting. Emeka Egbuka, what will his role be in what is a crowded receiver room in Tampa Bay? But he was a top 20 pick. Egbuka is really talented, of course, himself coming out of Ohio State. We know what that college does to help prepare receivers for the NFL. And there are other receivers too. Matthew Golden, the first-round pick in Green Bay. Trey Harris, a perfect fit in Los Angeles with the Chargers. So a lot of cool stuff to keep an eye on. Like I said, Fantasy Pros on YouTube. Also check out fantasypros.com for more analysis this draft season.